I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. The financial fortunes of the Transport Board have improved as a result of the introduction of a number of new routes. The disclosure from Transport Minister Michael Lashley in an exclusive interview with the CBC News. Sean Farrell has the details.
Commuters have responded well to the introduction of the new routes. Transport Minister Michael Lashley says passenger traffic has increased since the board implemented the program in May.
I am happy to report that these new routes continue to grow during the month of May, resulting in 19,977 passenger rides. And the warehouse to Warrens and the ABC connection had the highest load factors. In fact, 63% and 61% respectively.
The minister says the Transport Board's sales income has increased as a result of the changes.
The gross revenue from these routes amounted to some $36,147.50 for the May of 2014. The pilot period came to an end shortly at the end of the month, and I am happy to report that all four of these routes surpassed the expected ridership. And of course, they continue to be success routes for the Transport Board.
According to the minister, up to this time, income has been calculated at just under $110,000. He says the board has also been able to lower its diesel costs, and there has been a 3% increase in revenue over the budgeted figures for July 2014. The routes introduced as part of a pilot project are now here to stay. On a different note, he's expressed concern that PSV workers have not been adhering to the recent uniform policy introduced in April.
We've had 100% compliance at the start. We now have 85% compliance. And let me say that come October, we should have those regulations placed before Parliament, and it will become law, basically.
Mr. Lashley is also warning PSV drivers that using devices like cell phones while operating vehicles will also be punishable actions when relevant laws are introduced. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
Regional carrier Liat is moving more jobs from Barbados to Antigua. Again, we hear from Sean Farrell.
In a news release, the regional carrier said it will move 6 positions from Bridgetown to St. John's. It says 5 of these positions are currently taken up by Liat staff here in Barbados. The roles of sales and marketing, customer experience, and cargo under the leadership of Lisa Paris-Rudder will remain in Barbados. Total staff numbers in these roles are 275 who work throughout the region. Meanwhile, we hear that in order to strengthen the airline's airport delivery organization, a new position of customer service manager is being created, which will be based in Barbados. Liat claims the changes to its commercial structure are in order to bring a much sharper focus on revenue generation. Also, an internationally experienced Chief Commercial Officer, Lloyd Carswell, is being appointed in this position on an interim basis for 3 to 4 months. Reporting to him will be an interim DCO, Director of Commercial Operations, and a DCD, Director of Commercial Delivery. The DCO will be based in Antigua and the DCD in Barbados. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
Thanks, Sean. Well, it's now time for your take, where we hear from you, and we want to know, is it time that Barbados revisits having its own airline? Text yes or no to short code 8111. We'll have the results for you at the end of the news. Barbadians appear to be adopting a cautious approach to their back-to-school shopping this time around. A CBC team visited a number of establishments to assess the mood around Bridgetown.
September starts a new school year, and parents seem to be saying books first.
Parents have been gravitating more towards textbooks.
Supervisor at Bryden's, Leandra Graves, told CBC that parents had started comparing prices of school books from very early in the summer. She says Bryden's has created a system to deal with the last-minute rush.
We have been able to find the textbooks in the store quite easy, as we have a system that we give the textbooks to the customer. Instead of they searching for the textbooks, we give the customer the textbooks right on the spot.
Some attention is also already being paid to uniforms, with some parents buying the fabric early. Office assistant at Sewing World, Dolores Haynes, says, however, it's not the same as before because people are cutting back.
For some people, again, because some persons who are not working, normally you would have customers that would come in and buy maybe a number of yards of fabric because they want a uniform for every day for that child. But now they're buying less amount in terms of the amount that they would have bought before. And maybe again because of, some people are going through some little financial crisis.
Abed's retail store manager, Suzette Lane, has also noticed the change in spending habits. However, she's confident that sales will pick up.
Well, so far sales have been steady and we expect things to get a little busier coming on to the end of August. Since it's the last month and sales normally pick up around this time.
But at least one retailer of ready-made uniforms has reason to be optimistic. Acting supervisor in the Cave Shepherd School Department, Carolyn Rose, says sales are steady just like last year.
Well, as they go every year, good. As they say, after crop over, that's when people really shop. Our customers always shop last minute. So right now, basically, it's the same thing. Our sales are still up from last year.
So as the first day of the new term approaches, the stores expect to get even busier as more and more students gear up for back to school.
Coming up after the break, pensioners finally get their checks after a bit of a delay.
In concert with community, in harmony with humanity, feeling the rhythm, hearing the rhyme, moving to the beat of the time. Goddard Enterprises giving back, proud to be giving back, caring and sharing and serving and giving back. Across the region, Goddard Enterprises giving back.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
The mood at Field Place, Bayville, St. Michael, where 20-year-old Romario Yard lived, was somber today. Yard was reportedly shot while at Culmer Rock, St. Michael on Sunday by an unknown person or persons before being taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Speaking to CBC, his mother, Jewel Drakes, has not fully come to grips with the situation. While confessing that her son was chatty, she insists that he was never one to go looking for trouble.
I know he was not a bad boy. He was not. If he was, I would tell y'all he was not a bad boy. I just that for these last few days, he get just caught up with the wrong company. But he was just enough more.
Ms. Drakes went on to describe how she heard the disturbing news of her son's death from one of his friends.
He come and say, get to the hospital, get to the hospital. I say, what, wait to go to the hospital? He say, we Maria just get shoot. I say, where we Maria get shoot? In Calmara. I say, you were with him? No. I say, who take him to the hospital? We take him. I don't know who is we.
When contacted for an update, Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch said investigations are continuing into the incident and no arrests have been made. Police are asking anyone with information about the shooting to call the emergency number at 211 or the police hotline at 430-7189. A slight delay in lodgements by the National Insurance Scheme left several pensioners across the island without money over the weekend. But Marketing and Research Officer at the NIS, Derek Lowe, tells CBC News the problem has been rectified and the money has been deposited into the respective bank accounts. His comments came in response to concerns from one pensioner who said he checked on Friday when the money was supposed to have been on and again earlier today without any luck. Mr. Lowe says pensioners should be in a position to collect their monies by the end of the day. Friday, August 8, 2014 was an unforgettable day for the patients of the Evelina Smith Children's Ward of the St. Philip District Hospital. That's because the Sandy Lane Charitable Trust has donated $280,000 of sensory play space and equipment to the ward. One of the trustees, Pippa Chalice, says the items will be beneficial to staff and patients.
20 new reclining chairs, similar to the ones we gave to the QEH hospital, for the day room, a new DVD, fridge, and emergency medical cart, which is here somewhere, with all the equipment for the nursing staff. One of our most expensive areas was 9 of the 18 patients also benefited from new wheelchairs. These have been specifically moulded, there's one behind me, and manufactured chairs specifically designed to meet the needs of each child's individual body.
Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Cheryl Allen, lauded the trust for its donation.
I hope that others, whether institutions or individuals, consider what they may be able to contribute in terms of time, talent, or treasure to improve the lives of those who are ill, vulnerable, or challenged in some way. Usually when we think in terms of donations, we think in terms of something tangible, we think of something with a dollar value. But I'm sure that Nurse Rollins would appreciate actually some presence for the children to stimulate them. They have their challenges and we take so much for granted, and they would really benefit from visits, at least visits.
An Anglican cleric is advising Barbadians to consult God and His Word to overcome their personal problems. Rector at the St. Luke's Anglican Church, Father John Rogers, says many people are often worried and uncertain about where they can turn for answers. During yesterday's service held for the Committee for the Monitoring of the Rights of the Child, he highlighted the plight of many children silently crying out for help.
I reflected on those children for whom the night is not a pleasant time. Those children who do not have quiet nights. Those children who are constantly listening for the creak of floorboards or the turning of a knob. Those children who are victims of abuse in our community.
Meantime, Social Care Minister Steve Blackett notes the committee will ensure that children have a safe and healthy childhood.
The committee is tasked with advocating, advising and making recommendations on issues and policies aimed at protecting and promoting the rights of the child, facilitating public education exercises aimed at sensitizing communities and building partnerships with respect to the implementation of the rights of the child, and also liaising with the Ministry of Social Care, Constituency Empowerment and Community Development to ensure the timely reporting of the Convention to the relevant monitoring authorities.
Regional news next, but first a reminder that we want to hear from you on the question, is it time for Barbados to revisit having its own airline? Text yes or no to short code 8111. We'll have the answer for you at the end of the news.